and welcome to Lauren Reed Color. In today's video, I am hoping to finish our page in Mythomorphia. It's the Mystical Mountains page, and if you've been following along, then you know that these are our color palettes from Sarah Renee Clark's Color Cubes. So let me just show you what we've done so far. Right, so this is our page. We have done the sky, the mountains, the trees, and the snow. Today I am going to be starting on the stream, which is going to be like an icy stream with a reflection of the sun. Now, since the sun is over here, we're only going to get like the edge of the sun, the glow. So we're going, only this area of the stream will have a glow. And for that, we're going to be using Derwent Inktense to base and Prismacolors for shading. Then I'm going to move on to shading the bridge, the house, and all of the other elements on the page. So stay tuned and let's get going. To start off with, let me just tell you which pencils we're going to be using. So we're going to be using Inktense to base, as I said, Payne's Gray, Iron Blue, and Gold. And for shading, we're going to be using Prismacolor. So we've got Deco Yellow, Canary Yellow, Salmon Pink, Deco Peach, Deco Pink, Gray Lavender, Slate Gray, Periwinkle Blue, Light Cerulean Blue, and White. So yeah, these are the pencils we're going to be using. And I also have a inspiration page that I got off Pinterest. Let me show you that. So this is our inspiration image. I'm only going to be trying to get this effect of the glow on the water on this side of the page, as I said before. So let's see if we can achieve that. So we are zoomed in, and I am going to start with the gold, and I'm just going to put the yellow in first. And then what I'm going to do with the other colors is go around and leave a little space of white in between the darker colors and the yellow. That will allow for a bit of a glow. Okay, so I'm thinking that most of our light is going to be over here. Okay, and we can even make use of some of the lines that Kerby has given us. Okay, so I'm thinking that that should be it. Do we want some over here as well? Maybe some over here as well, but that's it. Okay, and now we're going to take our Payne's Gray. Okay, Payne's Gray, and we're going to put in the shadow colors, which are going to be here because all of the light is blocked, okay, by the elements on the page, the mountains and the bridge, and so all of that is going to be gray. And then we're going to have the blue on top and then slightly towards the center. So here I am leaving, yes, I am leaving white so that I don't mix my colors. So here a little bit, around the edges. Okay, again, make use of the lines. Okay, I think a little bit over here as well. And that's it, I think. Yeah. Okay. Careful over there because I put yellow. Okay, and now with the iron blue, okay, iron blue, you can go on top of the Payne's Gray. Okay, and here in the center. Okay, very lightly, I'm holding my pencil far down the barrel. Okay, and I'm avoiding the yellow, leave the white in between. This way you get a nice gradient. And when we do the pencils, they'll mix together. Okay. I'm thinking a little bit over here. But again, I'm leaving white in between. All right, so now let's activate that. I have my water brush and a cloth to dab on, and we're going to start with the yellow. Okay. And you can go a little bit into the white that you left. Okay. Just to get like a faded look. Okay. Right, and now I'm dabbing off my brush and I'm going into the iron blue and the Payne's gray. So I start in the middle and I go out. Okay. And you can have a slightly darker saturation over there because it's in the deepest shadows. Okay, and I'm making use of Kerby's lines. Okay. Okay, so here I'm being careful because I don't want the blue to get into the yellow. If the blue gets into the yellow, we're going to get green. Okay, so I'm just being very careful in this particular area. Okay, and over here as well. See, that's what we left. We left the white there so that we could get this this merging without too much mixing of the colors. Okay, I'm thinking that that's that. We're going to let that dry, and while that's drying, we're going to move on to shading another part of the page. Right, so while we are waiting for that to dry, we are going to color this bridge, and for this we are going to be using some gray colors. So we're going to use French gray 50%, we're going to use warm gray 90%, and we're going to use warm gray 70%, as well as some lavender. And we are going to keep a highlight in this area where Kerby has left some empty spaces and only color in the areas where he has left shading. Okay, so let's start off with our mid-tone, which is the 70% warm gray. Okay, and we are going to put this color, yes, in some of the shaded areas. Okay, so around this bird, next to the tree, okay, and underneath this yeti's paw. Right, so we're using the indications that Kerby has given us. Okay. Right, underneath the snow because it's casting a shadow. Okay. Oh, if you can hear the wind, we are expecting a bit of a storm here, so the wind has picked up. I've already gotten emails from students that they don't want to come to class today because of the storm. Okay, and now this side. Again, underneath the snow. Okay, and let's just move this across a bit. Okay, and here underneath the arch, okay, so we can do a bit darker. Okay. So now we're going to go in with our darker shadow, and this is 90% warm gray, and we're just going to put this in the deepest shadows. Okay, and here underneath the arch, but only next to the wall. And here as well. Okay. And now we're going in with a slightly lighter color, which is also a mid-tone, but it's 50% French gray. And I'm not going to go into the shadow areas at all. Okay, and finally some gray lavender. I've chosen this color because it's the color of the base layer, so I thought it would give it a nice shade to it, a nice purplish shade to go with our mountains. So I'm only putting this in the highlight, and not too much, just a little bit to give it some character. Okay, oh, I like that, that's nice. Okay, now we're going to move over to the house and do exactly the same thing. Okay. Right, so now we're going to shade this house in exactly the same way, and I'm going to go in with my mid-tone, 70% warm gray. Now, the sun is on that side of the page, so our highlight is going to be on this side of the building. Okay, so we just go here and very lightly put in some shadow on this side of the building. And of course you can also shade where Kerby has indicated. In with 90% warm gray and only in the deepest shadows. The 50% French gray. And finally, the grayed lavender. going to move back to our stream, which I think is dry. Okay, so we are going to shade this water now. Now keep in mind it is water, so it will have ripples. And we're going to start with the area where the sun is reflecting on the water. So we're going to use Deco Yellow, Deco Pink, Deco Peach, Pink Salmon, and some Canary Yellow. And I'm just going to show you on the reference picture what it should look like. So this is our reference, and as you can see, there are ripples in the water. So we're going to try and achieve that look. All right, so we start off with our darkest color, which in this case is actually the salmon pink. Okay, and we're just going to make ripples. Now the glow should be in the middle. Okay, so we're just going to take this color and in lines going across, create like water texture. Okay, and a shadow underneath the rock. Okay, and now we're going to blend that out with the Deco Pink. Okay, and now we're going to go in with the Canary Yellow and just, put in some strokes to make it look like the sun is shining on that area. Okay, I think we actually need a darker pink. Do we need a darker pink? No, I think we need a darker orange. Hold on, I'm just going to get a darker orange. Okay, so I've just brought a darker orange, mineral orange, and we're just going to put this in a few places as well, on top of the Canary Yellow. Make use of Kerby's lines, and I think we will then blend it out with Deco Yellow. Oh yes, that's already looking a bit better. Okay, and now let's blend that out with Deco Yellow. I'm thinking some more peach, so Deco Peach. Okay, and now we're going to put the blues in. So we start with the slate gray, okay, and it's going to be here in our shadow area. Make sure to put it under the rocks. So the sun is coming from this direction, okay, and it's hitting this rock, which means it's going to create a cast shadow on this side of the rock. Some periwinkle, and we're going to layer this on top of the slate gray. light cerulean blue. This will bring back the blue for the water. I think we also need some indigo. Yeah, okay, and now I'm going in with the Polychromos Dark Indigo 157. Okay, just to darken up shadows. And add some texture to this water. Okay, so I have carmine red, which is actually a pinky color. And yeah, we're just going to put some of this in as well, because we've got it up at the top. Just very lightly. Okay, and now we're gonna blend that out with the Deco Pink. Okay, so I have my Languel gel pen, and we're going to put this onto the water. Just let me make sure this is writing. Yes, it is. Okay. Right, so we're just going to make use of the lines that Kerby has given us. What I do want to do is take some more of this Deco Yellow and just put a little bit in some other areas just to make it glow. Okay, so that's what it's looking like right now. I have added a little bit more yellow onto the water, and now what we're going to do is we are going to shade all of the other elements on the page. For shading the rest of the elements on the page, I've decided to return to the Color Cube palette and to choose pencils from Graphitint that match these shades. So I have Juniper, I have Steel Blue, I have Port, and I have Russet, and we are going to use these to base all of the remaining elements, and after that we will shade with pencil. If you don't have the Graphitint, then you can either use Inktense or watercolor pencils in similar shades, or you can just use pencil and layer the pencils as a base and then more layers on top. Okay, so we're going to start with the Yetis. So I am starting with Steel Blue, which on the palette is similar to this, okay? And we're just going to use the lines that Kerby has given us, okay? So, right, I'm only putting this in the shadow areas where he's indicated, because I want a highlight where he has these other lighter areas, okay? So here and underneath this area here. And a little bit in, but that's it. Okay. Right, and I'm also putting some under his chest muscles. And here near his brow. And underneath his face. Okay, we'll do the actual facial, sorry, we'll do the actual facial features with pencils. Okay, that's that one. And here. Okay, so there's that. Okay, we're also going to do, let me move the page. We're also going to do the gauntlet and the rabbits with this color. Okay, so right, and this rabbit over here. Okay, and I think there's a rabbit on the other side as well, yes. I'm doing the rabbits gray because they're going to be white rabbits, but I don't want them to merge into the snow. The snow is blue. So we don't want them to merge in with the snow. Okay, we're also going to do the snowman with this color. Okay, and we're also going to do, or no, the club we're going to do with the russet. Okay, so that's all of those elements with the steel gray, steel blue. Now we're moving over to the russet. Okay, so the russet color, yes, on the palette is like a darker tint of this color. Okay, and we're going to do it for the club. Okay, the club. Okay, we're also going to do it for the owls. So, one moment. I'm just putting my protective page underneath. Okay, and again, we just use the lines Kerby's given because we want to keep our highlights. Okay, go a little bit into that white area. All the fine details will be done with pencil. Just putting a little bit of squiggles there. You don't have to be too precise because this is all going to be activated with water. and it will be lighter once it's activated with water. Okay. We're also going to do the owl on the other side of the page. 1 second. Okay, and now we are going to do those trees. Now I've decided for the trees that I am going to use the juniper, okay, because I want them to be a different color than the green trees. All right, so if we look at our color scheme, we have this juniper color as well. So, and also on the other one, there. Okay, so we are going to do that. Hold on. Again, I'm constantly moving my protective piece of cardboard. All right, so yeah, we're going to do them. Oops. Slightly different, because they seem to be a lot more icy than the other trees. And also on this side. Okay, so that's that. And now for this woman, I want to make her pinkish. Okay, so first things first, we're going to do her dress. So I'm using port for this, which is this pinky color. Okay. Okay, and for her hair, I'm going back to the russet. She's gonna be a redhead. Okay, and for her face, we'll do with pencil. Okay, so now we are going to activate all of that with water. it's all activated with water, and now I'm just going to wait for it to dry, and then I'm going to come back in with pencils and shade all of these elements. For shading these Yetis, I'm going to be using Prismacolor, Slate Gray, 50% Cool Gray, 90% Cool Gray, and white. Okay, I've also sharpened them so they've got a sharp point because we're going to be doing some flicking motions. Okay, so I'm only going to be shading in the shadow areas, all right? So around his face here and his hairline and underneath his face. Okay, and his chest hair, underneath his arms. Okay. Yeah, just making use of Kerby's lines. Also, I think, do his nose a little bit, his mouth, underneath his eyes. Yeah, we don't want too much shading on the face. The details are really small, so it's not that important. Okay, and now this one. The Graphitint does most of the work for us. We just come in on top and put fine details. Okay. Right, now I am going in with the 90% warm gray, and I'm only putting this in the deepest shadows. So here next to his hairline, underneath his face. Around his paw. I think I will darken up his face a bit. Yes. Okay, and here where the hair meets the shoulder. Right. Yes. Okay. Now we're going to take the white, and we're only going to go over the highlight areas. Okay, I think that's enough. Yeah, he's looking good. Remember, we're also going to use white gel pen to put some snow on him. Oh, here with these paws, I'm actually going to take the 50% warm gray and just blend out that darker gray that we had. And maybe even here on his chest a bit. Okay. And here on his... Okay, wait. Let's go in with the white and make sure we've got our highlight. To blend out some of that gray. Okay, right, and let's move on to the gauntlet. For this, we're going to take the 50% cool gray. And again, just use the lines Kerby's given us. To add shadows in the 90% cool gray. Okay, white. And the 90% cool gray again. So it's the blue, the slate gray again. Okay, the 90% cool gray. We'll give him his eye back in a minute. Okay, and white. Okay, I also want to give him some rosy cheeks. So I'm just gonna get a pink. Okay, so pink. And we're just gonna give him some rosy cheeks. All right. We can blend that out with white. Okay. Now let's go to the other side of the page. Okay, so now we've got this bunny and we are going to be using slate gray again. Okay, so this is where we are right now. We've done the Yeti, the rabbit, the gauntlet, the bunny, and the snowman. On this side, we are now going to do the 2 wolves, okay? And then we're going to move on to these trees over here. So for that, for the wolves, I'm going to be using gray lavender, okay? I'm also going to be using the cool gray 90 and the cool gray 50. Okay, this keeps the page cohesive. All right, so let me zoom in. Okay, so we're going to start with the 50% cool gray, okay, and only in the shadow areas again. Now 90% cool gray. Okay. Now gray lavender, we're just going to blend out a little bit. Okay. And white, just for the highlights on his back and tail, and his tummy, and his nose. Okay, right. And now we're going to do this one. Again, we're going to start off with the 50% cool gray. Okay. 90% cool gray. Okay. Gray lavender, just to do some blending. Okay, and white, just for the highlights. Okay, now we're moving on to these trees over here, and for the shading for them, I'm going to use grey lavender. I'm going to use clay rose, 90% cool grey and white. Okay, let me just zoom in on that. So starting with the clay rose, just putting this in the shadows. The whole tree is in the shadow, and that's the reason I chose to do it a different color. Also, they look a lot more icy than the other trees, and so I thought that they would be more snow covered. So this was my reasoning. Like for example, that's just a weirdly shaped icy branch of some kind. So I just use Kerby's lines. Okay. The 90% cool gray. Now I'm only going to use this really in the deepest shadows and very, very lightly, just barely touching the page, because I really don't want it to be too dark. That I don't think I'm going to do anything there. Here, just down the middle here. The top, around these. I think that's enough. And I am going to blend out that cool gray with the gray lavender. Create like a smoky effect. Yeah. Of course, we're going to go in with the white gel pen to add the ice and the snow. I don't think, do I need white? Let's maybe put some white in as well, just to make sure we have our highlights. Okay. Okay, and now we will go and do exactly the same on the other side of the page. into the brown colors. So it's the owls and this club and her hair. So for that, I'm going to be using sienna brown, okay, dark umber, dark brown. This is brown ochre, yellow ochre. I'm not sure I'm going to use this one. We'll see. And white. Okay, so let's start with the brown ochre. Okay. And again, only in the shadows. We want to leave our highlights. We might not use all those colors. We're going to see what the initial layers give us. If they give us a nice look, we will just stay with what we have. Because again, the Graphitint has given us a nice base layer. Hope you can see this. Yes, okay. Let me just move it across a bit. It doesn't have to be very precise. These are feathers. And feathers are haphazard. Okay, I think we're going to go in with the dark brown. And this will be our deepest shadow color. I'm thinking we won't need anything else. Okay. Yes, and I think we're going to take the white now and just make sure we've got our highlights. Flicks. Okay. Right, now let's do this club, the brown ochre. And I'm thinking a bit of this yellow ochre. Just a little bit on the top. Oh, yes, I like that. And I'm thinking let's put a little bit of this into the bird as well, just in the highlight area. So it'll give it a bit of a glow. Just a tad. And the beak. And then the brown ochre at the beak as well. I mean, the dark brown. Okay, some more of that here. Oh, yes, that looks better. Just a little, not a lot. Okay, now let's do the bird on the other side. Brown ochre. Okay, dark brown. So for her, we're going to be using, hold on, I have my colors in front of me. Okay, so for her, we're going to be using the clay rose, the pink, the 90% cool gray, the white. For her skin, we're going to use peach. And for her hair, we're going to use the sienna brown and the dark brown. Yes, and the dark brown. Okay, so those are all the colors. So let's just start off with the clay rose. Let me just sharpen it. Okay, so let's do the pleats in her dress. I want to do her skin, so let's do her skin and her hand. We will do her eyes as well. We will give her, since she's so tiny, you really don't have to do very much. I'm going in with the pink now on her dress, but not very much, just some hints of this color. Okay, let's blend that out with white. Okay, and just in the shadow areas, put some of that cool gray. which we are going to blend out with the clay rose. Okay, now let's do her hair. So it is sienna brown. Okay, and dark brown. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. And now let's zoom out and see what it looks like before we put in the white. So that's what it looks like right now before we put in any more snow. And that is the final step. We are going to put snow on some of these elements to make them look white and bright. So for that, I'm going to be using a couple of options. I have my Artristro acrylic paint marker. I have a Langwao acrylic gel pen. I have an Artline Decorite water-based marker, and I have a Q-tip for smudging if I need it. Okay, so let's put in all of our snow on all of these elements. All right, so let's start with our Yetis. I'm going to give my acrylic marker a shake. Hold on one second. Okay, so I'm not going to put too much on him. I'm just going to put some snow in his hair. Okay. I end up using my fingers, which is fine. Just flicking motions and smudging. We can even give him some eyes. Okay. Okay. Now we will, I'm still on screen, yeah. We will do this one. Okay, thinking I also want some fur on his legs here, on his hand. Oh, I know what I've forgotten to do. I've forgotten to do these tree trunks. So let's us just get our brown ochre and put those in. Okay, so brown ochre and dark brown. Let's just put these in. Okay, and shadow color. Okay. And also, well, oh, this one. Sometimes you miss the tiny things. Okay, here as well. Okay. All right, that's that. I also want to put some shine on this gauntlet. Okay. Do our bunny. Give him a little eye as well. Okay, and we'll give him a brown nose. He's cute. Okay, now, oh, I forgot that owl as well. I'm noticing lots of things that I've forgotten. Okay, we're going to go in with the brown ochre again. Okay, and then the dark brown. Okay, there we go. And we're also going to put some white on to this bird. Okay. And some white on this owl. Okay. Yes, now we've got this bunny. Oh, he looks a bit creepy. Let's fix his eyes. Kerby's animals look creepy. Oh, the snowman needs a stick for his nose. Okay. Right, let's put some snow on her dress. Snow on her hair. Do I want to outline her dress in white? I think so. Let's do that. Okay. Oh, I like her. Okay. What do we have? We have still the wolves. Okay, and you can put some snow on him as well. Let's do this wolf. Okay. Just trying to see what I've still got. I think I've still got this owl, just to put some snow on. And then the trees. Let's do the trees first. And then I might put some more white in the water as well. Okay, so let's just do these branches. So these ones are very icy. So we can just go around everything with the white. So there is our completed page, and I must say I'm quite pleased with the result. I love our glowing sunset sky, the pink mountains, the blue snow, and the cohesive look we've gotten for all of the elements on the page by using similar colors. I even like my glowing sunset on the water, which I was a little bit iffy about at first. Anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed this color along, and I would love to see your completed page if you have joined me as I've colored this page. So feel free to DM me or tag me on Instagram. Right, so that is the end of this color along, but there will be more on the channel soon. Take care and have a great weekend. Bye for now.